here I am. I have decided it's time to start telling my story. I've been promising it for as long as I can remember. I've been wanting to tell it for as long as I can remember. But things like family courts, police inquiries, abusive exes, family have always kind of got in my way. Well, actually, none of them have got in my way. I've got in my way. But I've decided I am not going to allow them to get in my way any longer. I don't quite know where to start. Probably should start my childhood, really, but I'm not going to. That's a biggie. I need to work up to that. But that's kind of where it all started, to be honest. Because I'd had a normal childhood without getting beaten from my brother most of my childhood. And it being ignored by my parents and allowed to happen. I wouldn't have grown up thinking that was quite normal, would I? Then wouldn't have walked headlong into abusive relationships thinking that was normal. So I probably should start there, but I'm still too annoyed. I've recently found out that within my family are some very dark secrets that only came out after my mum passed, unfortunately, because both my parents have passed now, and if they hadn't, we'd be having some very serious conversations. With things that happened in my childhood, not to me thankfully, but unfortunately to another female, that are very dark and were covered over, and subsequently a lot of other things were covered over in our family. So yeah, that's a whole new story of its own, and probably a whole new book of its own. I have started on my book, although not got very far with it, just making notes and the likes. Look at me, I look like I've been dragged through edge. Chilling today in my office in the garden, so this is as good as it gets. So yeah, I need to start telling my story, and I've put it off. I don't know where to start, to be honest. It's massive. It stems from my childhood, then going into adulthood, and then I suppose the work I did, then joining the police force, being sorely disappointed by that, but then meeting but also having a really good time and loving it. And I had a fabulous time in the police force too, and learned so much. I met some amazing people, both within the police force and the general public. And then building businesses. But unfortunately, when I joined the police force, I met my husband, my abusive, extremely, what became my abusive husband, who subsequently, bit by bit, destroyed or attempted to destroy my life. So I met him when I joined the police and started on the division I worked in. But I didn't start seeing him for 2 years after I'd joined. Geez, if you ever could think of a time that you made a decision that took you down a really horrendous path, saying yes to going out with him would be it. So 2021, 25 years ago. Jesus, what a journey. What a journey. And continues. I've currently got the longest standing divorce case in Lancashire history. Still not over. Been in the divorce court since 2013. 12 years and counting. And they've allowed it to happen. They've allowed him to ask for adjournment after adjournment, postpone hearings. He's still sitting in the family home like a cuckoo that I bought with my money. Can't get him out. I am currently being coercively controlled by the banks and the joint mortgage. I can't get off, and as long as he keeps paying it, I can't get him out. The courts have ordered the house to be sold. I'm waffling now. I need to kind of work out where I start with this story and how I tell it. But buckle up, because wow, is it a story. Needless to say, I'll just leave you with this nugget before I kind of make a plan. decide where to start and how to start telling my story. I started seeing my ex-husband in 2001, by which time I already had 3 properties of my own. I'd started building a portfolio before I joined the police. I joined the police, absolutely bossed it, was flying, doing really, really well, really enjoyed it. I worked hard. A lot of that was probably stemmed from my childhood, because I was always told I was no good and never encouraged, so I was like, I'll show you. Then I left the police and continued to build my portfolio until I had 24 properties. Meanwhile, I met my ex-husband, who was nearly 40 grand in debt, didn't have a pot to piss in, blamed it all on his ex-wife, as they do, brought nothing to the table, only worked for the first 4 years of our relationship, and left the police in order to help with the property business, and subsequently didn't, and it's not done much since. He became very, very controlling, very, very abusive, and by the final hearing, we've had the final hearing, but now we're on the next stage of the abuse, because although the judge has made the final hearing, he's not adhering to it. He's still in the family home, and it's been ordered for sale, but blah blah blah. Subsequently, I've been left with very little, so I should have been retired at 55 with between £1.5 and £2 million in the bank once it's on the portfolio. That was forecast. I've been left with very little, because it was stolen, it was spent, it was given, and by somebody, and to somebody who came with nothing, took everything, and tried to crush me in the process. So buckle up and enjoy the ride, because I'm going to start telling my story.